Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated. Welcome back. This week we're talking about Stop Killing Games. The saga continues, the inexplicable explosion of Minecraft movies' popularity, and the resurrection of the dire wolves. Trying to get us copyright struck.
No.
So first up, go on.
Sorry.
All right. Well, first up, we have Ubisoft's response to the lawsuit filed by the Stop Killing Games campaign.
Oh crap!
Yes, they have filed to dismiss the case.
Of course. What can they? What you don't see Ubisoft going down and say, yeah, we'll submit and we'll submit to this lawsuit and we will abide by the wishes.
Yeah, I highly doubt that they would have ever agreed to this, but now we know that back in February they filed a motion to dismiss, but that's only just come to light in the last week. So the response says that frustrated with Ubisoft's recent decision to retire the game following a notice period delineated on the product's packaging, plaintiffs apply a kitchen sink approach on behalf of a putative class of nationwide customers alleging 8 causes of action including violations of California's false advertising law, unfair competition law, and Consumer Legal Remedies Act, as well as common law fraud and breach of warranty claims. That's a run-on sentence.
Now say that 5 times.
Ubisoft also say that the claims are time-barred and should be dismissed because it's beyond 4 years since they purchased the crew.
This response feels like they're just weaseling their way out of this with the statute of limitations, especially with the statute of limitations.
Yeah, that does seem to be what they're trying to do. And they also note that plaintiffs received the benefit of their bargain and cannot complain now that they were deceived simply because Ubisoft did not then create an offline version of the discontinued video game.
Oh, come on, really?
Yep.
That's just victim blaming and gaslighting, both rolled into one. It's like, you enjoyed our products. Why did you enjoy our products? And you blame them for like buying the product as well.
Yeah, how dare you complain that we violated your consumer rights? So the plaintiffs responded on March 18th, which there was a copy posted online but is no longer visible, but refutes the statute of limitations argument by saying that there are no reason to believe the game servers would be shut down until it was announced, and also that gift cards can't expire in California, which they compare to the crew's digital currency.
Oh.
And fight back against Ubisoft's point that they have a online play requirement notice on the box by pointing out that the packaging also says the download code for the game would expire in 2099.
So Ubisoft has just basically shot themselves in the foot.
Possibly. It will be interesting to see where this goes. They have until April the 29th to respond.
So that's about 2 weeks away?
Yes.
What's the guy that started the whole thing said about it?
I haven't actually seen anything from him for a while. I think he might be busy with the other aspects of the campaign.
Yeah.
Because this lawsuit was filed by 2 other people.
Okay. I mean, with a news like this, you would think Accursed Farms would come up with its own statement, but yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up his YouTube channel to see if he has said anything, because I didn't think to look into this before. Yeah, no real details since March.
Damn. Although, mind you, this only just came out 4 days ago, so I think he needs to craft a very worded response to this.
Well, yeah, and he's probably also being careful not to say anything that will get him in trouble because it is a lawsuit and there are rules about what you're allowed to say and do while there's a lawsuit going on.
Yeah, yeah. But say this is this whole night the game would expire in 2099. Say if that's the smoking gun that wrecks the entire lawsuit for Ubisoft, okay? What would Ubisoft's
I would laugh so
cause?
hard.
Oh yeah, so would I. But say if that was the smoking gun that destroys Ubisoft's case completely, what would Ubisoft have to do in response to this? Do you reckon they will outright settle settle the lawsuit behind closed doors, or you reckon they'll keep fighting?
Yeah. Well, we yet to see if it's going to go to court, but if it
Mm,
does, wouldn't be surprised to see them try to settle with a certain number of people.
yeah, and I mean it's gonna be interesting. I mean it's gonna be interesting because yeah, sure, Ubisoft is a big company, but their reputations has been taking a big hit in the last few months slash years with their
Yeah, it's
terrible
been years.
yeah, it's with terrible decisions in the office and the recent game releases that everyone thought that would be big hits, but it's not a big hit. So I mean,
Yeah, terrible work environments,
yeah, yeah,
abusive staff.
yep,
They're not doing well in the court of public opinion.
nope, nope, and it shows with the stock how much their stock prices are going lately. If I go on Google right now to see their stock price, right now it is at €8.69 right now. And that says a lot.
It does.
Yeah.
Not at all, because we don't know where it was a year ago.
A year wait, I can find out for a year ago. A year ago, it was at €20.39 a year ago.
Okay, so we've dropped 12 euros.
Yeah. Yep. So, my god, if you want to buy some Ubisoft stock, it's a fire sale right now, guys.
I will note that we're not financial advisors, and I also think it's not a good idea because you don't know that it's going to go back up. If Ubisoft goes bankrupt, then you
Yep.
lose all your money.
Yeah, that's true. Although there has been word with Ubisoft how they were going to get bought by Tencent, if I recall.
Yep.
But I'm not sure whether that's a reality or it's or not because they said hang on a second, Tencent is investing in this was in 28th of March. Tencent invested 1.16 billion pounds in the new Ubisoft subsidiary for Rainbow Six.
Yeah, so if Tencent buys it out completely, then they would obviously get the entire IP of Ubisoft.
Yeah, and they will have to inherit Ubisoft's troubles as lawsuits as well, if that's the case.
Yes, I think they would. Not a lawyer, but I think they would have to take on their lawsuit.
Yeah, but that said, though, even if Tencent inherits Ubisoft in their lawsuits, you reckon they will be forgiving in a sense, or you reckon they'll double down?
I reckon it'll be even harder to get after Tencent because they're in China.
Yeah. Oh, damn. But so what does this say in terms of game preservation as a whole, given with Ubisoft's response?
Well, we have to see how it pans out. And obviously, they're very defensive because a lawsuit's just been filed against them and they don't want to do what the lawsuit is arguing for.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is really a good sign for Stop Killing Games if they get the motion to dismiss through. The worrying thing is that this is in the US, which is the US and very corporate friendly. So if actually, is this a US lawsuit? Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it does look like a US lawsuit, yeah.
And as a note, they're not actually officially part of Stop Killing Games. So they're in the hardest environment, not officially representing Stop Killing Games, and That's also probably why Ross Scott hasn't reported on it.
Yeah. Not to mention the two plaintiffs that are behind this one. I don't think they are from the Stop Killing Games crew, are they?
That's what I just said.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yep.
Seriously, sometimes I think I would get better results if I swapped you out with ChatGPT.
Yeah, but then he'll start hallucinating after a bong hit or two.
So would you.
No, not really. If let's say this case gets dismissed in California, how will this react to other countries that are that are involved in the Stop Killing Games lawsuit?
I'm really not sure.
And what does it say about what will it say with game development in general?
Well, it's basically the status quo position, so it wouldn't change much if it got dismissed.
The other thing that people have to consider as well, it's the Ubisoft will after they see the whole digital currency part and the packaging. You reckon they will Ubisoft will do a lot of changes to these as well in the near future?
Yeah, I bet that would take off the expires in 2099 thing if this goes through.
No, sorry guys, it won't expire in 2099. It will expire in 2030 or
Well, at
20.
least then they'd have to put an end date on it. They wouldn't be able to just have it end whenever they want.
Yeah, and this might be an interesting case as well. Like, if Ubisoft decides to take our digital currency, you reckon we might see a cascading effect in terms of why the fuck are we using digital currency for games in general?
I hope so, because I frankly think that digital currency is exploitive.
Oh yeah,
Because when you transfer real world money into a game, you get whatever the game calls its credits, and the purchases are always designed to leave you with a little bit left over.
yeah. Oh yeah, and you're right. It is exploitative as well as harmful in a sense of it's gambling. It's gambling pure and simple. Like with Roblox, for example, how they decide to ban the games in Turkey because of digital currency shit.
Yes, loot boxes are also gambling.
Yeah. So I think while the Stop Killing Games lawsuit may go down, it does raise an interesting discussion on digital currency in terms of whether it should still be a thing or not.
Well, I think it shouldn't, but I also think that's entirely separate to this case.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The only link would be that they're arguing that digital currency should be like gift cards and not expire, in which case Ubisoft would have to either refund unspent coins or transfer them to another game or do something with that.
Yeah. But ultimately, ultimately from this, Ubisoft will lose money. It's just how much money they will lose.
Yeah, it's not a good look for Ubisoft.
Yeah.
So hopefully it puts more pressure on them. But they're already under a lot and they're not changing, so who knows?
Yeah. I also think that this will also put a lot of other game studios on notice as well. Would you agree?
Yeah, the whole Stop Killing Games campaign is putting other developers on notice. There's indie developers promising to put in offline modes. They even promised to put in an offline mode in The Crew 2 as a result of Stop Killing Games. So they're making progress. They're just not doing it fast enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of making progress downwards, like the stock price of Ubisoft, Minecraft's Rotten Tomatoes score is not good.
Oh shit! Really? Really? The Minecraft movie on Rotten Tomatoes? Damn! I've never seen the tomato score for it.
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up to check what they're up to today.
So I'm on it
There's a
now.
huge disparity between the critics and the audience. 46% from critics and 87% from the audience.
Is it all audience or all critics or?
Yeah, it's 158 critics.
Yeah, I see it. Yep. And 85% of all audience, and then top critics is 48%, and verified audience is 87%. Shit. I mean, I bet you that 48% was because of what happened in the cinemas as of late with the Minecraft movie.
No, because the critic reviews were out before the cinema destruction.
Oh shit! So you've heard about the cinema destruction?
You told me about it.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I had
yeah.
already heard about it, but you actually told me about it.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But fucking hell, man, the destruction is insane. And also, not to mention the amount of money that's coming from this movie. I mean, 163 million domestically and 313 million globally on the opening weekend.
Yeah, the audience loves it.
Yeah, it surpassed the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And the director has come out to why the Minecraft movie is so successful, and it says it's attributed to broad audience appeal, extensive marketing partnerships, and a pent up demand for compelling cinema after a slow start to 2025. I mean, I get it with the broad audience appeal. Uh, and the marketing partnerships, but the pent up demand for compelling cinema. I mean, Minecraft movie with compelling cinema, really?
It's better than yet another superhero movie.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Although, come on, I am Steve.
Yeah, Jack Black's dialogue is very memeable.
Yeah, and him yelling "chicken jockey" where audiences go crazy with that with the in the cinemas. Apparently,
Yeah, why are they doing that?
I'm guessing it's a TikTok thing. I'm guessing, but it's gotten so bad where in some cases, cinemas have notified police.
What is it
Because
with TikTok and people destroying things?
man. Yeah, apparently. Oh, here we go. It's they said it's it became the ratty screenings have become a viral trend as a result, and it's gotten to a point where one theater has issued a following warning to the patrons: any form of antisocial behavior, especially anything that may disturb other guests, such as loud screaming, clapping, and shouting, will not be tolerated. Anyone who is found to be acting in this manner will be removed from the screening and not entitled to a refund. But it's interesting. The viral trends and the popularity of this movie. It's interesting seeing Hollywood's direction in in game adaptations. Like we've seen the success of the Mario movies, and now with the Minecraft movie. I think the sign is getting bigger and bigger for more video game adaptations.
And hopefully they're not all terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The last couple have been good, but there's a long history of terrible video game movies.
What have you got? Which movie have you got in mind? For a terrible, terrible video game movie?
Do I have to name just one?
Just one. I mean, from your
The
experience.
Assassin's Creed movie.
Really? That was terrible? I didn't mind it, to be honest.
I haven't seen it, but from all the accounts I read of it, it was completely forgettable.
Okay.
The original Super Mario Brothers movie was a huge mess.
But that was for funny though. Seeing a live action Super Mario movie.
The original Dungeons and Dragons movie, which tabletop, not video game, but same deal. Doom.
Yeah. The Rock in that movie. The Rock in that movie. Yeah. I remember that movie. Need for Speed.
Yeah, I don't know how that one went. I just know I never heard about it after it came out.
Damn.
And the same with the Gran Turismo movie.
I thought the Gran Turismo movie was a good one.
I didn't see it, but I never heard about it again, so it can't have been that good.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because if a movie is good, people talk about it.
I mean, one could say the same thing with the Mario movie in terms of, yeah, it was a good Mario movie, but you don't see talk about it anymore. Like we've mentioned, we should sure mention it, but there's like not much memes or anything like that came out from the Mario movie.
My friends' kids watch it all the time.
Okay, that's an anecdote, but you see my point, right? Like, when was the last time you see someone post a Mario GIF?
I can't remember the context, but it was actually only a few days ago. It was just a meme where they had a screenshot from the movie and had overlaid it with text.
Yeah.
It was the scene right at the beginning, the "Do you yield" meme.
Oh yeah, that movie. Yeah. King Penguin. But yeah, what else to say about the Minecraft movie? I think but that's interesting how with this movie, as I said, it's interesting seeing Hollywood turning from the superhero movie to video game adaptation. But what's going to be interesting is, are we going to see more ambitious adaptations? Can you imagine the Call of Duty live action, or better? Oh, actually, no. A movie that might hit you close to home. Metro, a Metro movie.
Yeah, I'd watch that. I don't know if it's done by the team that makes the trailers. Because the Metro trailers are great.
Yeah.
My favorite is the Mobius one for Metro Last Light.
The question, although the question, if you were to adapt a video game into a movie, like let's say Metro, for example, you're gonna have to cram down a lot of stuff into like a digestible 90-minute movie.
That's true for any movie.
Because I bet you, like with games like Metro, for example, there's a lot of side stories and side quests that could to the main story, and a lot of lore as
No,
well.
Metro's fairly linear. There's a lot of things that you see along the side, but the gameplay is fairly linear, so there's not really any side stories.
And there, also the other question, the other thing, the Minecraft is that because it's Minecraft and there is a huge fan base. I mean, how many people play Minecraft a day?
Yeah, I don't know the numbers, but Minecraft is literally the best selling game of all time,
Yeah,
even more than Tetris.
yeah, and a majority of people play Minecraft, and it's huge. It's bigger. It's as big as Marvel, and put it that way. And I think that's why it was Minecraft. The Minecraft movie was big.
Yeah, well, they've been waiting for it for like 12 years or something,
Yeah, yeah.
because I think they first announced it in 2013, and it was in development hell with a bunch of different directors for years, and then they slapped it together fairly recently.
Yeah, it was
Apart from COVID, they got delayed by COVID, but if COVID hadn't happened, it would have all been put together fairly quickly.
yeah. It was the 2014, February 2014, they Notch was in talks with Warner Bros. For a Minecraft film, and then later Mojang CEO Vue stated that there'll be a large budget production. And
Yeah, and
yeah,
originally Jack Black was only voicing a pig.
oh damn.
I am pig.
But have you been? But that's interesting. A lot of people liked the movie, but they hated Jack Black's portrayal as movie.
Yeah, it was basically just Jack Black being Jack Black. Like right down to him playing this saxophone, which I think is a reference to him on one of those talk shows where he plays a kid's saxophone with a live band.
Yeah. The saxoboom. Yeah, it was with Jimmy Fallon. But that's another interesting why it was the movie exploded as well. It was because there were a lot of like meta reference.
Yeah, there were a lot of meta references,
Yeah.
but I actually saw it last night and I really liked how they kept true to the spirit of the game. The only thing that has changed from the game is that the blocks are the wrong size.
Oh, really? How about how what was the size difference?
Well, in the game, the blocks are a meter cube. In the movie, I'm not sure what size they are, but they're much smaller because the scale felt better when they were smaller and actors weren't having to jump a meter in the air.
Oh shit.
Because that's
But
what you
that
have to do to get up a hill in Minecraft. A series of meter high jumps.
But that's interesting. You mentioned that because like critics were mentioning how there was a lack of creativity compared to the game, and it does raise an important question like how important is staying true material in adaptations like this? Did you ever know? Did you have so in your point of view? Was it did it act? You said it was it stayed true at the same time. They didn't really stick the jump.
Yeah, but everything else was true to the source. Like, there's a scene where some animals are eating and then they reproduce by having a baby just pop into existence, just like in the games.
Yeah.
They use redstone. This one's in the trailer. They use redstone. Actually, that other scene was in the trailer too. But they use redstone to make lava chicken,
Nice.
which is a common Minecraft thing. There's a scene where someone uses eggs as a weapon. So there's a lot of elements in there that are borrowed from the gameplay. And all the music was from the game. Not quite all of it, but all of the background music. There's also a few pop songs in there.
Of
But
course.
yeah.
From your point, could the film have done anything to satisfy the? Was it the perfect Minecraft movie?
Yeah, I enjoyed it more than I was expecting. I think one of the big things is that I'm a bit tired of movie adaptations that are just here's the movie thing in the real world, like Sonic, Mario
Uh,
Brothers to an extent. They go to the
mm,
Mushroom Kingdom, but they're from the real world, even though it's animated. They're obviously in on Earth.
yeah, Detective Pikachu.
No,
Oh,
Detective Pikachu was set in the Pokemon world entirely.
oh, okay.
It's not like there's. I understand why they do it. It's the audience surrogate thing where you need to have an idiot who has never experienced what's going on before so someone can explain it to them. But it's just a bit of a tired trope, I think.
What would be okay from if you were the director and you want to make a Metro movie and you what would you the gay to the universe?
That's a good question. But I think Metro is fairly self explanatory. There's a nuclear war, people live in the tunnels, there's mutants running around.
It'll be like Fallout.
Yeah, there's not really a need to have an audience surrogate, but like that's an important part of a show like Doctor Who. The companion acts as the audience surrogate, so the Doctor has someone to explain things to. Because Doctor Who is so wild and wacky that if you don't explain what's going on, people can't follow it.
Although it's weird how in Doctors it's always the companions are always acting as the love interest most of the time.
No, not always. See, we had Rose. The Doctor was absolutely in love with Rose.
Yep.
Then Martha, who the Doctor was not in love with. Then Donna, who the Doctor was definitely not in love with, and who was absolutely not interested in being in love with the Doctor. Like Martha, you could kind of see there's she would
chemistry going.
kind of be interested in the Doctor, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
But Donna had the whole "You're not mating with me, sunshine."
Amy Pond. How about that one?
Yeah, Amy Pond was in love with the Doctor, not the Doctor's love interest.
Yeah.
And that was also an important character because it was the draw of traveling with the Doctor compared to her mundane Earth life with Rory. Then
Okay.
Clara was not a love interest. Her character was about what happens if a human becomes like the.
What about River Song?
Yeah, River Song was a love interest, but she wasn't really a companion. She only dropped in every now and then.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they were all companions, but River was literally the Doctor's wife,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she wasn't the audience surrogate.
Oh yeah, that's true. I see.
Then we had Bill, who was not in love with the Doctor because she was a lesbian. Then there was Jodie Whittaker's companions. None of them were love interests.
Yeah, good point.
Actually, no, there kind of was a little bit with Yaz, but they never really went there. And I think a lot of that was wishful thinking on the part of the fans more than the writers.
Yeah, the shipping community was wild on that one.
Yeah. And now we've had Ruby Sunday and Belinda
Okay.
Chandra, sorry. And it's yet to be seen what Belinda Chandra's like, but she's pretty clearly not interested in the Doctor. She just wants to go back to her job. And Ruby Sunday was traveling with the Doctor, but her big deal was also the mystery of her birth because she wanted to track down her mother.
Wasn't
So
that
I
the
don't think there's that many love interests in Doctor Who
Hmm.
compared to what people think there are.
By the way, if I recall, there's a new season out now.
There is. That's Belinda Chandra. Only one episode so far, but it was good.
Okay, okay.
But we're way off topic. So, if you take that point and apply it to the Minecraft, Steve was the Doctor, and the audience surrogates were
The rest of
Dawn,
the
Natalie, Henry, and Garrett. Because those four came from the real world, ended up in Minecraft. Even though Steve had come from the real world, he wasn't the audience surrogate because he was the expert.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting question. Like, what role did those people play in shaping
Yeah, it felt like Garrett was the main character because he had the most backstory.
the rest?
Yeah, the rest were kind of just there for the ride. Like they had their own role to play, but they didn't have as much backstory, so they didn't feel like they were as main character as Garrett. Anyway, if you do go to see Minecraft, don't throw your bloody popcorn. It's just a dick move.
Okay, I agree with you there, but it's interesting how although the creator is the director has also come out saying this. I'm so happy that people are finding joy in going back to the cinemas and seeing things as a community. It's like we've become so isolated on devices, and it's just fun to experience things as human beings. I think people are just starved for that experience, so it's fun that they found a movie that we've made.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of well, I've never seen it live, but like in theaters, but it reminds me of what happens at Rocky Horror Picture Show screenings.
Oh, what the heck happened? Do
Like
I
there's
need?
a audience commentary aspect.
Oh
Like when
boy.
I went to see Minecraft, there was luckily nobody threw their pop, but there were people quoting the movie, like the trailer lines as they came up, and everyone cheered when the chicken jockey appeared.
Of course, they would do that.
Yeah, there was lots of cheering, no popcorn throwing. And yeah, people enjoy that. Some people like to go to Rocky Horror Picture Show screenings
Yeah.
and do a similar sort of thing where they have audience commentary and there's particular scenes that everyone's supposed to yell a particular thing at the screen. Anyway, the best character in the movie was Steve's dog Dennis
Okay.
because he's a good boy. All dogs are good boys,
Oh yeah.
except for dire wolves. They'll eat your face.
Although it's
So,
interesting
no, you go.
with Daiwas, although a lot of people are questioning that.
Yeah. Colossal Biosciences have cloned dire wolves, but they haven't actually cloned them from original DNA. They've taken wolves and edited their genetics to make them closer to the dire wolves.
Similar to Jurassic Park, with all
Yeah.
using frog DNA and going, yeah, we've just cloned it to use frog DNA to make dinosaurs.
Yeah, almost exactly like Jurassic Park's frog DNA. They're not the same thing because they're pieced together from what we know of the dire wolves and modern day wolves. In Jurassic Park they were pieced together from DNA from actual dinosaurs and from frogs. But I think there's another element too. There's also nature and nurture.
Yeah, because dogs have been domesticated. It took a lot of years to domesticate the dogs. From
Actually, surprisingly not. Someone did a
really,
study where they took, I think it was red foxes, and were able to domesticate them within 40 years. And as they domesticated them, they started to look more like dogs. Like they bred them for non aggression and all of that, but not appearance. But they noticed that as they bred them towards domestication, they began to retain puppy like features that you see in domesticated dogs, like floppy ears.
damn. So they've essentially changed their nature.
Yeah. And then there's also the nurture. The nurture of it is. So, anyway, my point with the foxes was that it only took about 40 years, if correctly. But yeah, there's also the nurture. These wolves won't act like dire wolves because they have nothing to teach them to be dire.
Wait, what do you mean by that? Loves of direwolves. Like when I think of direwolves, I think of like Game of Thrones. Like them being crazy and strong at the same
Yeah.
time.
Well, they're being bred in captivity and raised by humans. So they're not going to behave the way a dire wolf would in the wild.
Oh,
And like, I saw an example the other day. There was a video of a panda snapping bamboo, but who would wince and turn its head away as it broke the bamboo, like it had seen human trainers doing, because the humans had to teach the panda to eat the bamboo. In the wild, pandas don't give a damn, they just eat the bamboo. But in captivity, this one had learnt from the keepers that it had to wince when it broke the bamboo and turn its head away so it doesn't get splinters in its face.
oh man, that's
So it
nuts.
had learnt from humans, not from pandas.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Yeah, look at the wild. It's just using. Yep, yep. And it's twisting and. Yep, yep. Jesus.
Yeah,
What?
so these
But
dire wolves, even if you captured some wild wolves and implanted them with dire wolf embryos, and dire wolf in air quotes there, so even if you were able to perfectly clone a dire wolf from a preserved specimen, say, you would then have to worry about it not knowing how to behave as a dire wolf. It would behave as a wolf. because there's only so much of behavior that is determined genetically.
And the crazy part is going to be, even if you take out if you release the captive direwolf, quote unquote, into the wild, you don't know whether you're gonna get a perfect direwolf at the end, a perfect direwolf pup at the end. Like
Yeah.
you would have to like mutations might occur.
Yep. And also, when cloning, they often use an egg from an existing but similar species. And then the mitochondrial DNA is completely different. They basically take an egg, take the DNA out, and replace it with the DNA of whatever they want to clone.
Yeah.
But the mitochondrial DNA remains. So that's another problem with cloning, that the mitochondrial DNA determines a bunch of stuff. So you get something more along the lines of a crossbreed than a pure direwolf.
Ooh. So all the hype that we've gotten lately about the whole that we got a dire wolf and stuff. So is it all fake news or is it real in the end?
I'm not sure I'd call it fake news, because what they have done is take wolves and genetically modify them
Yeah.
to be more like the direwolf. But have, what they haven't done is made direwolves. So the technology and all of that is real and is incredible. It's just the end result isn't exactly what people think it is.
Yeah.
So it's not completely a lie that they've made direwolves. It's a misrepresentation.
Well, so it's interesting. From what we've seen, the quote unquote success of this experiment, that we've gone a long way from Dolly the sheep to this.
Yeah, yeah. Dolly the sheep, the first cloned animal, was literally just a sheep. They took a living sheep, cloned it, put it into another sheep, and bred a sheep. They basically had a pure sheep.
Yeah, this whole thing will also be an interesting study on genetics and cloning, and maybe some stuff would need to be revised as well.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes in the future. I just don't think it's exactly what people are saying it is.
Yeah, the ethics communities are going to be looking at this with a keen eye.
Yes, they will. Any sort of genetic editing is needs important ethics consideration.
Because I mean, bringing back a direwolf is one thing, but can you imagine if, let's say, the direwolves that they're breeding in captivity now, they live a long, long, long life. Can you imagine they try and bring back a couple of other dead species, like the Tasmanian tiger, for example?
Yeah, that would be even easier. In fact, I think this is the same company that wants to do that.
Oh shit!
But that would be really easy because we have well preserved specimens and they've only been extinct for less than a century.
But that does bring an interesting question: whether if are we going to see a tier list of species that will remain extinct or come back from extinction? Like, okay, we're not going to bring back the dodo bird or bring back stuff or
Yeah, we need to be careful about what we bring back
yeah.
because we're also not bringing it back into the same world that it was living in.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine bringing back a woolly mammoth into current conditions where the climate is absolutely uninhabitable for woolly mammoths?
Yeah, I would consider that to be pretty unethical
Hmm.
because you know it's going to suffer and die under most conditions. And also, the newer research shows that the mammoths lived in a biome that doesn't exist anymore.
But yeah, that, like I said, it's going to be interesting seeing a tier list of what to bring and what not to bring. And the other question is going to be who's going to decide what to bring and what not to bring.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite extinct animals that you'd bring back?
Oh, I would say a saber-toothed tiger.
Okay.
Yourself? What would you want to bring back?
I mean, I've got to go for dinosaurs.
You just can't get over the Jurassic Park vibe, can you?
No, no, you can't. The problem is the longer back you go, the less DNA you have, because the half-life of DNA is only a few hundred years.
Although that said, though, let's say you bring back dinosaurs, how are they going to fit into the modern world? I mean, Hollywood recently done it, and it was a bad idea, and it still is a bad idea.
I would make dinosaurs, and then I would make hundreds of them. And then I would have a private island full of the dinosaurs where I'd have a mansion, and no one would come to bother me. No door-to-door salesman, because I have dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Would
but
they eat me? Probably.
Yeah, but how would you deal with them trying to escape from the island?
Flamethrowers.
Yeah, that could work. Yeah, yeah. But but then that's another ethical issue you're gonna have to deal with. In terms of you're gonna bring back the species, but are you gonna bring them back for breeding purposes or for entertainment purposes, or that's a whole another kettle of fish.
Yeah. Like, you can't rewild something that doesn't have a biome anymore,
Hmm.
but it's also not necessarily ethical to keep it in a zoo.
Although some species you just want to have a look at, like how did they actually live, like the dodos, for example.
Well, dodos were ground-dwelling birds. That's pretty much it. There's nothing that exciting about dodos.
Yeah, that's true. Although some of the similes would be would have to be if you bring back the if you bring back certain species, some of the similes will be gone. If like I said, bring the dodo back, and then there's a dodo. Nope, no, we can't use that thing anymore. They're back now.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll take a short break to talk about our sponsor, Res. We're sponsored again by Res, the energy drink for gamers, claiming to maintain mental concentration and focus, relieve weariness and fatigue, decrease mental and cognitive fatigue, and reduce eye strain. Coming in delicious flavors like crisp apple berry, you can get some for 15% off with the code NERDS15 at drinkres.com. That's drinkrez.com.
Rez, don't leave home without
You say that every week and it's a gamer drink. Who's leaving home with their gamer drink?
it.
No, you drink it and stay at home.
Yeah. Although, mind you, like I said, we could have a games night, and can you imagine forgetting your res when you need it?
Oh yeah, that would be awful.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, back to our shoutouts. On the 1st of April 1976, sorry, the 10th of April 1976, we saw the announcement of the Apple I, an 8-bit motherboard-only personal computer designed by Steve Wozniak and produced by Apple Computer Company. It was Apple's first product. The interesting thing is, Wozniak designed the computer, Steve Jobs marketed it. Wozniak was basically going to give it away for free. He was just going to hang around at his computer club and be like, hey, look at this cool thing I built. And Steve Jobs was like, we could sell this.
Okay, help me out here. Okay, so is Steve? I've seen Wikipedia say Steve Jobs is an inventor and a innovator, for example. An inventor, a businessman, and an investor. But then when you look at the Apple One, he just marketed the whole thing. So would Steve be an inventor per se, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he invented himself, because
Yeah.
most of the work on the first Apples was done by Wozniak. So
Yeah.
Steve is kind of the guy who gets people together to do, well, they're both Steves, but Jobs is kind of the guy. I am Steve Jobs. Jobs was kind of the guy who brings people together to create stuff. Wozniak was more of the engineer who gets in and makes it himself.
Yeah. And
So
what's
yeah, I
interesting?
think it's a bit of a misnomer to call Jobs an inventor, but people do, and it's stuck.
Yeah, it's what's interesting. I'm looking at right now. It is in Jobs' Wikipedia page under innovation designs. They say here he is listed as primary inventor or co-inventor in 346 U.S. patents or patent applications related to a range of technologies, from actual computer and portable devices to user interfaces, speakers, keyboards, power adapters, staircases, clasps, sleeves, lanyards, and packages. His contributions to most of his patents were to, quote, the look and feel of the product. He and his industrial design chief, Jonathan Iver, are named two of the patents.
Well, there you have it. That's the actual facts.
Yeah. And when you look also lower down, so for the Apple II, for example, Jobs oversaw the development of the Apple II's unusual case. The Lisa, Jobs wasn't really part of it. The Macintosh, Jobs took over the project after Woz experienced a traumatic airplane accident and temporarily left the company. Yeah, there wasn't much. There wasn't much of the innovation with Jobs. I bet you we're gonna get a lot of Apple Bros coming to us after this.
Yeah. Well, come at me.
There you have it, folks. There's our war cry. If you have any criticisms or complaints, send it to us at nerdsamalgamated@gmail.com. That is nerds.amalgamated@gmail.com.
Or on our Discord.
Oh shit.
Check the show notes to come and harass us in our Discord. The Apple I used a MOS 6502 processor and was originally sold for $666.66.
By the way, that is no cool. That is a real number. Yeah. Have you ever
And
thought?
go on.
Have you ever thought of restoring one of these computers?
It would be hard because there's only 200 of them that were ever made.
Oh damn!
Yeah, so I'd have to track one down first. I think the last time I saw one go for sale, it was going for over 100 grand.
What?
But the 6502 turned up in tons of other computers as well. I don't think it was as prolific as the Z80, but most computers were sold as kits. The Apple I was fully assembled, but still required a case, power supply, switch, keyboard, and display. And on the same day this year, we passed the 10th anniversary of Ex Machina, a British sci-fi movie directed by Alex Garland in his directorial debut. It follows a programmer who is invited by his CEO to administer the Turing test to an intelligent humanoid robot.
Wait,
Garland had
what?
the idea when he was 11 or 12 years old after doing basic coding on a computer. Go on, DJ?
What is the Turing test? For those who are not familiar with the test in itself.
Basically, you put a computer in a room, like you hook up a computer to a chat program and chat with the computer, and you do the same thing with a human on the other end. If you can't tell which one is which, the computer passes the test.
Okay.
It's not the best test, it's iconic, but it's not the best because it really depends on the intelligence of the human.
Yeah.
And something like ChatGPT would do pretty well at passing the Turing test, but it's also not intelligent. The Turing test only covers a conversation, a very specific type of interaction. Like with ChatGPT, if your conversation goes too long, it starts to forget things. It can't do maths, which is funny. Computers are very good at maths. It turns out that trying to make them intelligent makes them stupid.
I'm gonna try that out now.
And the title of the film derives from Deus Ex Machina, meaning a god from the machine, which comes from the Greek tragedies, where an actor playing a god would pop up and solve the character's issues and lead them to a happy ending. These days, it basically just means something comes out of nowhere and solves the problem.
in a nonsensical fashion.
Yeah, usually nonsensical. I've never seen this movie. Have you seen it?
I saw this years ago, and man, that it was a real thriller. That was a real thriller to watch. I mean, fucking hell, the way the CEO just manipulates the situation, and the poor person at the other end was just, what the hell, man? You must be a sociopath.
Apparently, the movie's a loose adaptation of Shakespeare's The Tempest.
Oh damn. Wait, wasn't The Tempest basically a movie, a Shakespearean play about revenge? Or am I thinking of Hamlet?
You're probably thinking of Hamlet. I haven't read The Tempest, but it's about a shipwreck.
Oh yeah.
Well, what is our messed up moment this week, DJ?
Oh boy. So you remember Spider-Man, right?
Yes,
And
I do. Who doesn't?
fair, fair. So you know the whole story of Spider-Man and his romances.
Yeah, they don't tend to end well.
Well, so one of his old romances by the name of Gwen Stacy. You remember her?
Yeah, is this the one where he gives her radiation poisoning?
No, this is even worse.
Oh,
So Gwen Stacy tragically died at by the hands of Spider-Man. Had a story arc of her own, and this one was basically him basically going out with Norman Osborn, whom you will all know as the Green Goblin. And the messed up part about this is that Gwen and Norman Osborn had an affair, and she basically gave birth to twins by the name of Gabriel and Sarah in France, with Norman's blood causing the siblings to grow at an unnatural rate, and Gwen telling them basically that Peter was the dad. And
okay.
even more messed up part was Gwen's death in the original comics was to expose Norman Osborn for the killing for the affair.
You see, I
But
thought
yes,
you were going to go with the one where Spider-Man gave Gwen Stacy radiation poisoning
oh shit.
through intercourse.
No, I haven't heard that story, but I want to. I want to see why that turns out. But yeah, that was but yeah, sadly, both of the twins passed away because of the accelerated growth rate, and the story and that arc was yeah, not well received as a result, especially with the part that your girlfriend was going out with the arch villain.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to find the source for the one where he gives her radiation poisoning, but I can't. Maybe it was a different Spider-Man girlfriend.
Oh man. It was a different Mary Jane Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. I found it. So Mary Jane Watson was married to Peter Parker, but died of radiation poisoning as a result of constant exposure to the radioactive isotopes in his body fluids. Her last word to him being "go" when he was sitting in the window of her hospital room. Her death deeply affected Peter, prompting him to go from red and blue costume to the black version before he finally retired as Spider-Man. This was in Earth 70237, but man, the multiverse is so weird.
Yeah, that reminds me of what's his name? I can't remember who wrote it now. But Man of Steel, Woman of Tissue Paper?
Oh, fuck. I remember you mentioned that a while back. Woman of
Larry
Kleenex.
Niven. It was Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex. And it's an essay about how Superman and no, I've forgotten her name.
Lois. Yeah, Lois
Yeah,
Lane.
how they could never have a physical relationship because she would literally die.
I but that's weird how like in the current issues of Superman now, like Superman has a son now, which is and that's and yeah, you wonder like, is this essay even relevant at this point?
Yeah, just don't think about it too hard. Oh, a wacky movie from the 11th of April 2012 is the French premiere of Prometheus, Ridley Scott's great failed masterpiece.
Yeah, yeah.
That movie could have been so good, and it was a mess. It was a prequel to Alien, which set up a whole bunch of stuff that then got thrown away to be replaced with another whole bunch of stuff that then got thrown away for the next movie.
You saw this movie, didn't you,
Yeah,
Professor?
and I've got to say, the fan edit that adds in a bunch of deleted scenes improves it a lot.
So they basically Snyder cut that movie as well.
Yeah, but it's still not very good.
Ugh.
Like, there's the classic stupid scientists who go around doing stupid things that scientists would like. I want to like it, but it just doesn't work.
The character motivations just yeah, you just were like, what the hell are you doing? Are you there, Professor?
Yes, I'm here. I'm just lost in thought about how that was such a waste of potential.
Damn, that traumatized you so badly.
Yeah.
It's like going back to the PTSD moments.
Yeah, a lot of things people complain about actually make sense.
Hmm.
Like, people complain that the technology is more advanced in this movie set like 30 years before Alien. But
Yeah.
it's also a state of the art science research vessel compared to Alien, which is basically space truckers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also the only Alien movie that doesn't include the alien. It includes other species, but not the famous alien.
I mean, I mean that makes sense though if you think about it. Like it's a prequel movie. Like you have to. It makes sense because it's a prequel movie. Like it's exploring the origins of the Alien franchise. So that, like I said, it makes sense.
Yeah, and it also set up that great scene in Alien Covenant where Michael Fassbender as David the android meets Michael Fassbender as David the android and teaches him to play the flute and
Oh
says,
yeah.
"You blow, I'll do the finger."
I remember that scene, and I'm just going, "What?"
Yeah, that wording is so dodgy.
Okay. The other thing I've also noticed in Covenant, and I think it might be also in Prometheus, was so much pretentious shit in that movie. Like the whole like, I am Ozymandias, look upon my work. Like, what are you talking about here?
That's a classic poem.
I get that, but it was just so much pretentious stuff added into the movie. You're just like, what the hell are you talking? What the hell? Why the hell is this in this movie?
Well, it kind of made sense because the guy who says that, if I'm remembering correctly, is Mr. Wayland, isn't it?
Yeah, it was Mr.
And
Wayland initially, and then afterwards it was David talking about it as well.
yeah, but Mr. Wayland wants to become a god. He wants to meet God and become immortal. David becomes God himself and creates life in the form of the xenomorphs.
Yeah, and then utterly destroy a civilization just to prove a point.
Yeah, they never explain why he did that. Maybe it's in the comics. I haven't read those. Anyway, some fun facts about the movie. Charlize Theron was a heavy smoker and struggled with a scene where she had to run through sand in heavy boots.
I mean, come on, let's face it. Like running while you're running with a smoker's lung, man. That's
In a
yeah.
spacesuit is hard enough.
Yep.
And the movie was loosely based on the ancient astronauts theory, which basically says that there must have been aliens that came to Earth and taught us technology. I do like that the point that Earth was a failed experiment of the engineers. They
Yeah.
created humans. Humans screwed up. They sent Jesus, who was one of them, to Earth to give us a second chance. And we're just like, no. So they decide to kill us all. Yes, that's the ancient aliens theory again. That one of the, sorry, not ancient aliens, ancient
Ancient
astronauts theory.
astronauts. Yep.
One aspect of the theory is that that's what we perceived as gods, because I think it was Clark who said sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Okay.
But that's all we have for this week. Join us on our Discord, look after yourselves, and stay hydrated.
Also, find us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You know the deal. Stay happy, stay nerdy. See you guys.